Hello, welcome to the Enchanted Kingdom of Hermione. The Empress just got home, and she's going to take the Minister of Defense outside because he's been making a lot of racket. And we can get down to business today. Today I want to talk about a great love of mine, and that is music from the country of Ethiopia. I've always been fascinated by the country of Ethiopia. And years ago, again, I was on tour with the Show Business Giants. We were in Calgary, and there was a record there on Hannibal Records by somebody named Mahmoud Ahmed. Ere Mela Mela. Had a really cool cover. Looked interesting, so I bought it. Just kind of on spec. I think I paid, 10 or 12 bucks for it. And I just hit the roof. I loved this record. It was kind of like, it's pop music, but uniquely Ethiopian. But it also had elements of like James Brown and the Famous Flames, but with Arabic scales. And there was like a wah-wah pedal and farfisa organs. And I really like pop music from the third world that has been heavily influenced by Western pop music. For whatever reason, I just love that. So, of course, and this was some time ago now. This would have been in the, late 90s, I guess. I don't know when that record came out, or when Hannibal put it out anyway. Of course, it came out in Ethiopia. God, I don't know when, 1974. At any rate, I kept my eyes open, and back then there was nothing. And then one fine day, I found this Ethiopian Groove on, I think it's called on Stearns, is it? The Golden 70s. And this features a great grab bag of sort of Ethiopian stars. Now, there was a significant music industry in Ethiopia before the Derg came along. So this features, now the name you're going to maybe recognize here is Ethiopique. And she's on this, one of her very early, couple of her early singles. She moved to, I believe it was Washington, D.C., and sort of homogenized her sound considerably. Put some records out for Columbia. They're pretty good. They're not as representative of Ethiopian pop music as I would like them to be. I find them a little watered down. This is really great, and this features a couple of artists. Aleo Mesfin is one that I've never been able to find anything else by them. And like Tamrat Frenenji and Zunish Bekele, I can't even pronounce these names. The Waleas band was the sort of backup band. They were like the JBs, I guess you would say. And this came out 1994, Blue Silver label, which I don't know anything about. This, I think, came out of Germany, Paris. Came out of France. And so I found that, and I loved it. Then I found one of the guys on this, Alameu Ishite, managed to get a record out on Shinachi, 1992. And this, he was kind of like the Little Richard of Ethiopia, if you will. New beat music from Ethiopia. This isn't bad, but sadly, it was done in Paris. And what that means is that a French guy plays keyboards on it. And there is the world's worst sounding digital piano on this. It's still pretty good. I wouldn't pay real money for it. Well, yeah, I would. What am I talking about? And then here's a great one here. This is on Earthworks. This is through Stearns. And this is a later Mahmoud Ahmed record. What year is this from? Well, it says 97, but I can't believe it was recorded then. I think this is from the 80s. And this is actually really good. This is it's a smallish band. 2 tenor saxes, drums, keyboards, lead guitar, bass. The tenor saxophonists always play in unison. And they're kind of like call and response. This record I really enjoy. The only caveat is you will never find another record in the world that's as compressed as heavily as this record. It has been squashed flat. I'm not sure who did it. I do believe this may have been recorded in Ethiopia, in which case that would sort of explain it, I guess, but does it say? No, it doesn't say. Amharic vocals, recorded in the 80s, it says. That's about as accurate as it gets. Okay, recorded in the 80s, so that would have been, I guess it would have been during the Derg. When the Derg took over Ethiopia, all music completely stopped. And like I say, and Ethiopia had a thriving music industry. How thriving, you ask? Well, the same guy that produced the Ethiopique record, which is good, started a series called Ethiopiques. And I don't know how I'm going to do this in any kind of decent, timely fashion, but I got this many of them. And they are absolutely wonderful. Now, I don't have all of them, because there's a few of them that are from modern times. They're closer to folk music. I'm less interested in them, but number one is a compilation. Mahmoud Ahmed is on it, instrumental by the, I think it's the Police Band. And number two is modern stuff, I think, from Tigray, I do believe. But then number three is another compilation, Mahmoud Ahmed. Who else do I know here? A lot of names I've never heard of. Number four is the one that everybody likes. It was in the Bill Murray movie. What's his name again? Ashite. This is kind of like jazz fusion almost, and he's a vibes player, and it's really, really interesting. Like, now these are all the work of a guy named Francis Falcetto, I think is how you pronounce his name, and Mulatu Astache. This is really good. They give you some dates: 69, 72, 74. The golden years of Ethiopian music was the mid-70s. This one is another compilation, Tigray, Eritrea, 1970 to 75. Now, here we come to, this guy put out a few complete Mahmoud Ahmed records. They're all really good. This one is from 73, except for the last two songs, which are 71. Here is the proper reissue of Eremele Mele, 1975. If I remember right, the Derg took over in 76. This one is Swingin' Addis, 69 to 75. Mahmoud Ahmed, Aleo Mesfin is on this. I didn't know that. Samuel Bele, how did I miss that? Aleo Eshete is on it. Samuel Bele, Gurma Bayene. These are hard names to pronounce. I'm sorry if I'm screwing them up, folks. And another Aleo Eshete. Now, which one is it that has... There's a song on this one by him called Honey Baby, where he attempts to sing in English with really comic effect. Ethiopian Blues and Ballads. Now, this is... Now, they call it Tizeta. There are 4 tracks on this entitled Tizeta. And Tizeta is kind of the Ethiopian equivalent of the blues. Mahmoud Ahmed, Aleo Eshete, Mulatu Astache, some Sifu Yohan. That's a name we see every so often here. Ketchachukasa. Again, a great, like, the compilations are really hard to beat. Ethiopian Groove, which I just showed you, this has basically been reissued in this series. I bought it anyway. I thought it was gonna, and but then we get into some really interesting stuff. The lady with the krar. Now the krar is a harp, Ethiopian harp, and I can't remember as Nekich Vergu, and she plays the krar and sings. We have Katashu Mikuria, who is the negus of the saxophone. This is instrumental sax music, Ethiopian style. Here we have the harp of King David. Now this guy is really interesting. I do believe it's mostly instrumental. And it's really, I know, just... here we have Klahun Gesese. And this is his bodyguard band, all-star band, exhibition band, army band. There was an army band. Now these bands would play at the sort of the Western hotels. They didn't do a lot of mixing with the proles. This is enchanting. Solo piano by this young lady, Sigu Mariam Guebro. It's a song called Homesickness. The Jordan River Song, the Garden of Gethsemane. Fairly spiritual component to this. Really, really interesting sort of jazz inflected, but very Ethiopian. Another Eliu Eshete. He made a lot of records. This is all from 72, 73, 74. And we got, now, what's this one here? And then yet another Mahmoud Ahmed record with the Imperial Bodyguard Band, 72 to 74. I can't recommend Mahmoud Ahmed enough. He's probably the biggest star in Ethiopia. And this is interesting. This is the Either Orchestra. And this is a modern group of, I think they're not Ethiopians. Oh no, this is the Orchestra Ethiopia, sorry. There's also a group called the Either Orchestra. This is modern. This is a recent recordings, if I remember correctly. And again, these are all of a piece. I don't know if there's many more to come. I'd love to see an Eliu Mesfin record, because he did what they called speed music, and he was very loosely described as the punk rock of Ethiopia. And a lot of this music, a lot of it is fascinating. Everything is in fast 3 times. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But the vocals are sung in 4 time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And they go in and out of phase with each other, and it's just really amazing. It's just fascinating. These are starting to get, like, every trendy CD record store had these for a while. They've been going for a while now. When was the first one? First one came out in the 90s, I think. Doesn't say. What's his name? Francis Falsetto is behind all of them. They're on a label called Buddha Musik. And I would say that if you find these, the multi-artist ones are the best ones, but there's nothing wrong with buying a Mahmoud Ahmed or an Eliu Eshete CD by itself. The saxophone, piano, harp records are slightly more, if you're a real fanatic for this stuff, but it's all really great, and it's like you can have fun to it. It's fun music, and a lot of it came out on Philips Records. Believe it or not, had an Ethiopian division, and a lot of this stuff came out on Philips. And so they've managed to find very good. The sound on these is not bad. It's amazing how good you can get sound out of like one microphone at the radio station in Addis Ababa. But I find the sound is not annoying at all. It's from everything's from the mid '70s. It sounds like Western music from the early '60s, perhaps. But it's not a deal breaker. And when they pull, I'm sure there was one wah-wah pedal in Ethiopia, and it's on all kinds of these records. And I think there might have been one Farfisa organ and one vibraphone. But because these guys were kind of the elite, and they would play at the big major hotels that the Westerners would stay at, that's where these people would play. The army had their own band. Musical instrument ability is not something that is cultivated in Ethiopian culture. Musicians were kind of almost considered like, I don't want to say slaves, but genteel company wouldn't play an instrument. You'd have somebody play it for you to entertain you. And so there's very little tradition of music playing other than perhaps the krar. And so it's really funny how, if I remember correctly, there was a Armenian fellow who brought a whole bunch of horns and things into Ethiopia in the 20s, I think. And so almost all of this stems from this one shipment of instruments that came in. And then when rock and roll broke all over the world, it kind of made its presence felt. And the result is these things. They're great. I love them all. And I'll buy more. I haven't looked up if there's any new ones. I think there's a little bit of a law of diminishing returns here. So the best ones are probably already out. Can't recommend them highly enough. And I would imagine some of you folks out there will get off of them the way I did. Anyways, that's about it for me. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'm going to keep digging around and find more stuff like this because it's just been occurring to me, hey, I should do a thing about that. And so I'm going to keep doing it. It's fun. Yeah, leave some comments if you have something to say. And we'll talk to you later. Thanks a lot.